the end user is becoming more educated, and we want the end user to become more educated, yes, but educated in the correct way is what I always say. Like, we're not Amazon. Don't try and think you can buy all your technology off of Amazon and it's going to work, and you're going to watch a little YouTube video of some guy in their house showing you how to connect everything and it's going to work.
I must apologize for Wimp Low. He is an idiot. We have purposely trained him wrong as a joke.
Projection mapping everywhere. AVWeek gets back into research and the value of training for AV over IP. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 779, recorded Friday, July 24th, 2026. Educated incorrectly. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and stories in the AV in the IT world. AVWeek gets back into research. Microsoft goes down, and the biggest 3D LED display in Europe. Let's get into it. First up, Microsoft 365 went down Thursday morning. The outage hit Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, and OneDrive. Microsoft's Azure cloud platform was also affected in its West U.S. region. The disruption began around 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Microsoft traced the cause to a recent networking update, and engineers reverted the change and confirmed the fix by evening. No data was lost, mainly because you couldn't get in to add any more data, and Microsoft found no evidence of a security breach. Now, for IT teams running meetings and file access through Microsoft Stack, the outage is a reminder that single vendor dependency means single vendor risk. Teams that lean on Teams for every collaboration workflow felt this one directly. Not quite a year after parting with their in-house research team, AVWeek is teaming up with FutureSource Consulting on Pro AV market research. The two organizations will study demand in education and corporate markets. Their first report focuses on the North American education sector. It's due out in the fourth quarter of this year. The research will combine AVWeek's membership data with FutureSource's buyer surveys. For AV managers building a budget case, better demand data means a stronger argument. It's also a signal that end user behavior, not just vendor supply, is shaping how the industry measures itself. Siemens is acquiring Precision Innovations, a chip design software company. The deal adds AI-powered chip planning tools to Siemens' electronic design automation portfolio. Precision Innovations builds its software on the open-source Open Road framework. Siemens says the acquisition will speed up semiconductor teams evaluate design options. The deal is expected to close in the third quarter of this year. The National Museum of Qatar has completed a major projection upgrade. The museum installed 128 Panasonic PT RQ25K laser projectors. That is more than 170 Hive Media engines drive the system across 10 galleries. Hive's technology sits inside the projectors themselves using the SDM slot. That design removes the need for separate media servers. The new projectors put out 20,000 lumens, roughly double the previous units. The system processes more than 21 billion pixels every second. It's one of the largest Hive deployments completed to date. And finally, a new LED display has launched in Warsaw, Poland. Digital Network built the screen right next to Warsaw's Central train station. The three-sided display covers 800 square meters. It's built specifically for anamorphic 3D content using perspective and depth to create illusion effects. The installation uses nearly 1,000 LED cabinets weighing 22 tons combined. Digital Network calls it Europe's largest three-sided 3D LED screen. The company operates more than 20,000 displays across Poland. This one is designed as a standalone platform for brand launches and major events. That's your AV news for the week. Stick around. Our roundtable discusses AV over IP training and the democratization of projection mapping. That conversation is next. This is AV Week.
Hey, listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job-related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
All right, welcome back. And now we bring in our fantastic roundtable with us to discuss the news and information we have got this week. First and foremost, Jennifer Weaver. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim. So happy to be here this week.
Good to see you. Jennifer, of course, is with AVIXA. My buddy Adrian Boyd lives in St. Louis along with me, and he is with Worldwide Technologies. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. Good to see you. And a young man that I have known for a very, 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 very long time. He was 12 when we met, and I was 14. I don't know how old we were, dude. It's been a very long time. My buddy and pal, the AV professional, Phil Cordell, who has now recently joined our friends over at Visionary Solutions. Welcome, sir.
That's right, Tim. So glad to be back. It has been a moment. I used to be a frequent guest, and it's been at least 6 years, so I'm thrilled to be here with you.
Hey, Phil and I, if you go on YouTube, matter of fact, I will make Mitchell search for this and put the links on this episode's page. Phil and I did something together, and it wasn't just me. I don't even know what my job was in this. But Phil and a bunch of really great folks, they did something called the AV Selfie Video for a number of years. And AVNation was a part of that. Very fun. Every year at InfoComm, Phil would create a unique song, a parody of some sort, usually. And we'd go around and we'd shoot video, and people would upload their selfies from InfoComm, so that was a lot of fun. And Phil was among the first 40 under 40 from our friends over at Commercial Integrator.
And so was Tim. I just happened pretty much every day. I put myself to bed with this gym. This is the inaugural 40 influencers under 40 from 2014. Yep. Who's this fresh-faced guy? Let's see.
That's a bad. That's
you love to see it. That's right, Tim.
I'm
in there. Not encased in a frame and
in acrylic
gold, so that it does not get any fingerprints on it.
There he is.
Yep.
There he is.
I was one of the AV hand signs.
Yep.
Who else? All kinds of friends in there. There's our buddy Chris Netto's in there.
Chris Netto's in there.
Yeah. So that was a day. I mean, you figure 2013, 40 under 40 for CI didn't even exist. Wasn't even a thing. And then that next year, we brought the Thunder, Tim. And I was so proud to be in that group with you.
Just really quickly, that was like 200 pounds ago for me and Netto put together. So I just want to point that out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm not going to say who's lost the most weight in the last 10 years.
You both look fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank
all
you,
that matters.
All right, let's move on to our stories because nobody cares about me 12 years ago. So, Ames, our good friends and my favorite punching bag, has launched a free self-paced training program for IPMX at training.ipmx.io. Now, IPMX has certainly published specifications, they've certified products, they've got PlugFest, and they've got a handful of real installations, supposedly in the real world. I'm still waiting for that press release, by the way. What it lacked was a way to teach people how to design and deploy it. This curriculum runs 3 levels: foundations for those specifying a system, systems for building them, and then the networking for switching and the timing layer underneath. It teaches the underlying standards directly, including AES 67, SMPTE, ST 2110, and MMOS, so folks taking the class can come away understanding the broader IP media family, not just the one that they are pushing. Now, more modules are supposed to arrive around IBC with on-site training planned beyond that. Real quick note, AVNation will be heading to IBC the 11th through the 15th of September over in Grand Old Amsterdam. Now, Jennifer, we're going to start with you. Not just an IPMX question. I joke that I like to beat them up. They've come a long way, and I have admitted that a number of times on this show. How much should the IT decision maker, the AV decision maker, be expected to know and take this type of training about their underlying tech stack, or how much should they rely on their integration partners?
Well, the integration partner needs to know, right?
Certainly. Yes. But how much to their clients? How much to the folks in higher ed and corporate?
The end user is becoming more educated, and we want the end user to become more educated, yes, but educated in the correct way is what I always say. Like, we're not Amazon. Don't try and think you can buy all your technology off of Amazon and it's going to work, and you're going to watch a little YouTube video of some guy in their house showing you how to connect everything and it's going to work. They are becoming more educated, and they also need to be able to break fix right away, especially when you talk about higher ed. Classrooms are going on, so they need the training. Like, regardless, training is, in my opinion, as a former teacher, is so important. Get the training, get the knowledge. Somebody should understand it. Because, yes, systems integrators and solutions providers are going to have their service response time, but if it's immediate and you need to do it right away, then somebody on site, whether it's that paid technician that's there or the employee, should have some understanding. So I'm not going to knock training. Training is important. So whether it's end user, integrator, whoever's doing it, training is important. You should understand. And also you want to make sure that what you're asking for, you're getting what you're getting.
That's actually a really fair point. Having the education to be able to assess the specs and the, quite frankly, the proposals that you're being given. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Adrian, when it comes to those actual specs and those proposals, how much weight should a decision maker give to credentials like this when they're evaluating an integrator's team? Or should they lean more on, higher end like CTS, or should they rely more on like stuff like CCNP, the Cisco certifications?
I think it all comes into play, honestly. The industry has certainly gone more towards that IT stack, right? And from the integrator side, you really have to have this verse knowledge in understanding how a network is built, how it functions, and with IPMX being such a network reliant standard, this is just going to be another thing. CTS is that training, those certifications they're broad to give you everything you might need start to finish in the industry, right? When we get to these sort of more nuanced certifications, whether they be an RCDD or any of the Cisco certifications, anything from Microsoft, Dante, OEM specific certifications, those are the dial-in, right? The really granular stuff. And as a designer, as an installer, even sales, end users, the more you have a good understanding of this, the easier it is for your deployment, but also it gets easier when you start getting into the monitoring side, the break fix side, at day 2, day 3, stuff's not working. And with a lot more things living on the network, IT best practices doesn't always work with AV best practices, right? When I'm sending a video signal, whether in an AV over IP environment, it's there or it isn't. For IT, if I'm sending a file or opening up a web page, I can send it, not receive it, it'll send again until you get it. AV over IP isn't like that, and you're starting to find more of it in critical environments for VoIP. Especially now we're more heavily on Teams and Zoom and WebEx at your desktop. There's no more when stuff doesn't work. When you have foundational knowledge and say, "Oh, here's the reasons why," or this or that, and you can start looking at stuff. It makes things a lot easier, And to kind of dovetail into this, you'll notice that Microsoft made a very, I think, a great choice in bringing their training to Avixa, right? Not having it in Infocom. So now you can get, hey, I'm not a certified partner with Microsoft, but now I can start getting that Microsoft training for Teams, for the different, back-end parts of their cloud And when we start looking at all these other things that are getting thrown in the AV bucket, this IT bucket, because it keeps getting bigger every year, you're going to start having more stuff. You're going to have more training. You can't sit back and go, oh, I took a class 6 years ago and I know everything. Well, 2 weeks after you took that class, the landscape has changed again.
Phil, you've got a different perspective now. 6 years ago, when you and I last saw each other, you were with an integrator. Now you are with a manufacturer, and part of your job is creating this very education. How important is it from a manufacturer standpoint to get in front of and to get the decision makers, not just your integrator partners, because those are important too, obviously, because they're installing your gear. But how important is it for your customers to understand this technology?
Well, we would absolutely love them to take the time to understand it. To Jennifer's point earlier, somebody needs to know how this stuff works. If you're on campus or in the building or wherever the case may be. And a lot of times that'll be your IT guys, or person. Sometimes that might be, a general tech. But we think it's hugely important, and we've got a pretty big push coming here on the visionary side for some additional educational resources, some series, and yeah, we think it's hugely important. The more people know, the better they understand the product, the better they can differentiate amongst everything that's out there and find the best solution that fits their needs.
Is it? From a creator standpoint and from an educator standpoint, is it a different class for the end user versus the integrator, or is it the same one? You just hope that the folks that are taking it, regardless of where they sit in this chain, they are able to consume and process it?
Yeah, that's a great question. In my mind, because these people are switching seats so frequently now, we'll know people on the integrator side that now work for the university or vice versa. And I'd like to hope that there is kind of a base of knowledge that they'll bring to the class. You figure anybody that's doing a deep dive into AV over IP hopefully isn't walking in completely blind. Either they've got the networking background or they've got the integration background. So I think that those curriculums can be pretty similar. I don't think you have to necessarily make a giant differentiation, but certainly there's some nuance there that you wouldn't expect everybody to be on the same page. So it'll be interesting to see how people roll out these various curriculums. I think that it's not necessarily a one size fits all. Everybody's going to bring their own expertise and their own background, but I don't think you got to get too in the weeds for assuming that people do or don't know certain minutia. It's like, this is a network switch. Hopefully you've seen this before. It's very important these days.
Hopefully, yes.
See, now I disagree. I think there does need to be multiple learning paths. Again, let me put my teacher hat on.
Yeah.
I taught high school math. My kids needed to understand basic, fractions and multiplication and division and all of that stuff. When they didn't understand that basic, I had to reteach it to a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. So you have to do the pre-skills test. That is the thing we do not do enough in any industry, is a pre-skills test. What should you know coming into this? And if you don't know these 5 things that we're testing you on, then go learn that first, or we're going to teach that to you first. Then you can get here, because more people will not raise their hand and say, I don't know what that means, or I don't know how to do that. So when you test them, they can't fake it.
It's kind of like a prerequisite.
Yes.
Jennifer makes a great point, right? Like, I was working with one of our customers, and they were experiencing some issues with a very heavy AV over IP environment. And one of the things which we discovered was the PTP Grandmaster was absent. So that was an easy solve. And, when you get back to, AV over IP, like I was listening to a podcast the other day, and he was talking about MIDI, and they were talking about how with MIDI, you had the synchronization clock. And I'm like, well, that's the precursor of where we are now, right? If you understand MIDI, you could pretty much build an AV over IP system if you understood those fundamentals, because it all comes back to when my signal gets from point A to point B. If my PTP clock isn't correct, if I don't have an NTP server telling me the time, by the time it gets to my destination, everything's all out of whack because the timing's off. Then you have the fun word jitter gets thrown into it, and you have the latency. Well, it all starts with those foundational things. So, to Jennifer's point, we do need to have those foundational skills, those IT understanding, because of how much is going on the network today. It's not just, I've got a network port and I'm going to, or I'm using that Cat5, E connector to do HDBaseT. We're literally using managed switches from Cisco, from Netgear, from Extreme, from whoever to transport what used to be, the standard matrix switch, and we were terminating 5-way B and C, right?
Yeah, Adrian, I never imagined that my MIDI knowledge would ever translate into AV. Just I'm going to point that out there. All right, and I have a little bit because I was around in the 90s producing audio production. So yeah, we had a little bit of it. The next story from AV Magazine, Panasonic Projector and Display Americas is sponsoring the very first 6 Illuma Beast trucks. It almost sounds like a transformer. A mobile projection mapping fleet built with startup IllumaBot, also sounds like a transformer. Each truck is a self-contained AI-powered projection unit that can turn a building facade or other surface into a mapped displays within minutes using Panasonic's Mivix projection technology. Now, the pitch of this is accessibility. Users point a smartphone camera at a surface, use natural language prompts to detect it, and generate visuals and map the projection, cutting out specialized crews and complex software that has traditionally made projection mapping expensive and slow. The fleet has launched here in July during a tour tied to America's 250th anniversary and is set to expand to 6 trucks by fall of 2026. They are available for brand activations, live events, festivals, sports, bar mitzvahs, and all of the other jokes about that. Adrian, if AI prompt-based mapping is genuinely removing the need for specialized programming crews, what does this do to the value of an integrator, a consultant, or a person whose projection mapping engineer is part of their job description?
Oh, I just think it makes it a little bit easier, right?
Really?
AI is a tool. Yeah, I mean, projection mapping is really a science and an art, and AI can take a little bit of that math load off, right? I don't think this is really going to change. It's just going to make it a little more accessible. I mean, we've seen how a lot of these sort of open source projects in AI have kind of improved a lot of stuff for different industries. We've seen it where projection mapping has gone that open source route where, heck, Bob can get his, Temu projector and get a MacBook, and he can do, his Halloween or Christmas light show off his, front porch, right? Yeah. So you have that layer, right? You're going to see it in different levels of complexity. When you get into that highest tier where it's the stadiums, it's the large buildings, it's architectural elements, it's unique structures, you're still going to have those people. AI isn't going to ever replace them. It's just going to be another tool in the workbench to set up the show faster, take away some of the headache, maybe help when you've got really weird structures you want to map to, make it easier for projectors. Because sometimes, like when you're building a projection mapping environment, well, if I can get AI to figure out, hey, I only need to use 3 projectors instead of 5, well, there's a cost savings in that, right? When I'm mapping if I'm mapping a space, I think it's just going to make things a lot better, improving. And a lot of AI tools we're using today, they're literally, what you see is what you get. It's based on the prompt you put in. They're not a thinking environment. They are predictive, right? If A, go B. If this, do that, right? And if you've ever played with any of these AI tools, a lot of times, unless you put in the guardrails, they make stuff up, right? So I don't think this is going to change too much at the end of the day. I think it's just going to be a great tool for someone to deploy these. And, hey, I can park a Cybertruck in front of a water tower like the image shows. right? And I can press a button, and this can be set up in under 40 minutes versus hours, mapping in the dark, right? It's going to be kind of a good thing.
Phil, I am reminded of The Incredibles here, because if everyone's super, then no one is. If everyone can do projection mapping, does it lose its specialness? Does it, or does it all, or does it increase the pressure on those folks where projection mapping is a permanent install? I am thinking of my beloved St. Louis Blues, right down at the Predators arena. They've got projection mapping on the ice. It's prevalent throughout the NBA and the NHL. Does it kind of put the pressure on those folks?
I think it certainly is a welcome to the future moment where you're right. I mean, you remember the first time you saw a really fine pitch direct view LED and you're like, this is incredible. And then a few years later, it's everywhere. Here's the thing, though. If your position at your integrator or wherever was like, I'm the guy that can really do this math, nobody does math like I do, I got bad news for you about where this AI thing's heading, because it's real good at math. And I think that it's going to probably take some of the uniqueness out of it, some of the specialty. It used to be college kids and just people throwing up projectors on art installations. It was kind of a punk rock thing for a long time, and then we really refined it into what we've had for the past number of years, which has been a really a cool thing. But I see something like this, I'm like, yeah, of course, this is where it's headed. Something like this is so easy to package up, throw on a truck. If you're an expert in this, you're going to look at it. Same as when any of us step into a sports bar and you see the lack of cable management or whatever. Those of us in the know will see the wrinkles. But I think for the vast majority of people, they're going to be like, that's really cool. So-and-so's album comes out next Friday. Now I know. It's going to turn into that, and it's going to be a lot more ubiquitous and everywhere. And I'm not surprised. I think it's kind of neat, and obviously from the storytelling part of my brain, I can see tons of applications that are now much more accessible than they were when I had to bring in a crew to do this.
Yeah, that's actually a lot fair. Jennifer?
And I'm looking at the website, right, and I looked at the route that this is going. I've never heard of some of these cities that this is stopping in. So now my
St.
brain
Louis
goes,
isn't huge, but you've certainly heard of us, right?
Yes, I know you are. But, and I'm from Ohio, and the West Virginia place, I'm like, where is that? In West Virginia? I lived in Ohio. But I think this has potential to go into towns and cities and be a revenue generator for them.
Okay, go on.
You think about it. They can come in and come on and pick a building and do something, whether it's going to be around, say Star Wars. 50th anniversary of Star Wars is next year. So we're going to do something around Star Wars, or we're going to do something around the history of the town, or something around maybe somebody famous was there. And come in just like you do outdoor movie night, right? A lot of places you can pay to see the outdoor movie, especially here in South Florida, because we've got to charge for everything. Now bring your lawn chairs, right? Bring your snacks. Sit down and watch a projection mapping show. $20. Nice little revenue generator.
I'm still stuck on the fact that Star Wars turns 50 next year. So
yeah, don't talk about it, because that just means I'm...
That will be a good place to stop. I like the revenue generation part, though. That is a really good idea, regardless of what town it's in. So, thank you all so much. Jennifer Weaver, how do people connect with you or AVIXA, ma'am?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Weaver, or if you want to learn all about AVIXA, you can go to avixa.org.
All right, very good. Mr. Boyd, thank you, sir. As always, how do people connect with you or connect with Worldwide Technologies?
They can find me on LinkedIn. It's probably the best place. If you find me on LinkedIn, you can actually book a meeting with me and talk about your AV projects. Worldwide Technology is wwt.com. And they are, when people go, what's Worldwide Technology? And I'm like, well, they're probably the largest technology integrator in the world. And they have subject matter experts for just about anything you can think of in the technology space, IT, AV. You think of us as like a consultant group of technologists. And we have what we call our ATC environment. We have our AI proving ground. And if you name it, WWT can help you implement it, which is really cool. It's been a very interesting experience joining them just to see the capabilities of the teams that I work with and what can be done.
Yeah, that's very cool, and good to see you there. Also, Mr. Phil Cordell, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or Visionary Solutions?
Of course, yeah, you can find us on LinkedIn, Visionary Solutions. Find me on LinkedIn, Philip Cordell. And don't forget to hit our website, visionary-av.com. Thank you, as always, for having us. Tim, I got to get going. I got to get this back to the safety deposit box where I keep it at all times.
Yes.
This is going to be worth something.
Thank you. Someday, I don't know when. Maybe when all of us are dead and gone, somebody will give you $5 for it. So I don't know. Who knows? Thank you. My name is Tim Albright. Do not follow me anywhere, but go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others, including Jennifer Weaver's AV Career Mastermind and a brand spanking new State of Control, looking at the history of control, Part 2. It's a new format. I am incredibly proud of Mitchell and Steve Greenblatt, Buddy Rich Fregosa. They have done a fantastic job with this new layout, and I am very, very happy with it. So go check it out, please, if you would. If you want to connect with me and read things that has nothing to do with technology, you can certainly connect with me on LinkedIn, but go by the website, if you would, please, avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hi, this is Jennifer Goodyear
and Erica Carroll
from the Women in AV podcast, where we are encouraged by the incredible stories of women in AV.
Listen in on fun, empowering conversations as we chat with inspiring women, breaking barriers and creating their own path in the industry.
Check out Women in AV on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.